I want to take you guys through a shoulders, traps, and calf workout earlier this week at the University of Scranton. So beginning my workout with dumbbell shoulder press, aiming for 3 working sets here. This is my top set shown. I did not film any of the warm-up sets prior to this, but with that, take as many warm-up sets as you need to work up to the top set of 6 to 8 reps, and then backing off from there, the next set being 8 to 10 reps, and then the following set after that being 10 to 12 reps. Definitely with these, if you can, have a spotter that will allow your sets to be pushed farther and farther to and past complete muscle failure. So what will happen, and you'll experience this doing a dumbbell shoulder press particularly, you will struggle very much out of the bottom of the rep where the tension is the greatest. But if you have a spot to just get you through that point, get you to the top, then you should be able to take over the load from there and then continue your set. Like I said, pushing beyond that point that you would hit if you were training alone. That was the first exercise. Moving along to the second exercise being the lying cable laterals. You've seen me do these on the floor. Recently, I've taken the time to actually move a bench to the cable stack that I'm using for these, and I like a little bit of improvement on that. Just being able to lock my feet into the ground rather than placing my entire body on the floor gives me a little bit of extra bracing, and I like the stability of actually sitting on a bench as well, giving my shoulder blades something to drive into. Rep range just stayed the same with a little bit of a difference. First rep, I got 8 and then partial reps on top of it, so I actually decided to keep the weight, perform a second set, still being in that 8 to 10 rep range with my second set, and then moving along to the 10 to 12 rep range for my third set. Using ankle cuffs if you have them. If you don't have ankle cuffs, just same things apply. Just you can grab the stopper on the cable. It will prevent you from leading with your elbow ever so slightly, but still definitely a far superior option compared to a traditional dumbbell lateral raise because the profile is much more consistent with this as opposed to a dumbbell lateral raise where the tension is pretty much only at the top and drops off significantly as you get to the bottom of the rep. So if you're looking for something to program consistently for side delts, definitely look to a lying cable lateral like this. You can also perform cable laterals standing, but this position, especially if you notice the way the cable travels in proximity to my wrist, it gets a little bit closer as I get to the top, matching what your body is able to produce in terms of force. So a little bit of drop off in tension at the top as the tension stays consistent at the bottom, providing adequate load in that length and range. So like I said, 3 sets there, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. You could be a little bit lighter with your lateral raise or medial delt exercise for the workout as opposed to a press. Presses I like to dip a little bit lower, 6 to 8 definitely to start for the first set, and then work up in reps from there. So three sets of 1 exercise for front delt, 3 sets here, the lying cable laterals for side delt, and then the rear delt portion. You've seen me do this with the Prime rotate handles. Using long individual handles instead, same thing. So if you don't have the Prime handles, no biggie with this. The big thing with this is driving your chest forward into that pad and then contracting back. So to bias the rear delts, we want to actually have our upper arm at a slight angle, whether that be 30 degrees, 45 degrees. That will vary from person to person to achieve a fully contracted rear delt. With this, using a heavy weight on the rowing motion where you can actually handle more weight due to the stability created in your upper back. So aiming for about 6 to 8 reps there with about a 1 to 2 second hold at the back of each rep on that supported face pull. And then burning out, you'll see I only have the 10-pound dumbbells here, but a modification of a rear delt dumbbell fly. So a lot of people will do these out to the side to create a 90-degree angle from their body and work to actually touch the walls. But if you look at the anatomy of a rear delt, the fibers do not actually run completely horizontal. They run diagonally. So what I'm doing with this is actually aligning the fibers of the rear delt much better than as if I was going out. Moving on to our little metabolic burner for delts. The hypertrophy coach coined it the shotgun to the dick superset, and I like that. Only doing this once because, as the name implies, you never want to do that twice. First exercise here, a modification of a lateral raise. So this is not a rear delt exercise. You could see me in direct opposition to the tension. My medial head of the delt is on top. So that was the first exercise. Every exercise performed in this metabolic burnout, aiming for 10 to 12 or more reps. Then you'll see here me moving on to a face pull. Now biasing the rear delts, so we took care of the medial delts, now the rear delts, and then moving along after that, you'll see me go to the front delt. So what I will do for front delt as I finish up my face pulls is simply, without racking the weight, I will lay flat on my back and do a lying cable front raise. You could do this with the long individual handles like I have, or if you have ropes, same concept. You just want to be able to keep your chest nice and big and allow your shoulders to stay externally rotated and have them in a good position to contract. So doing the lying cable front raise until failure, burning out as far as I can, partial reps and beyond. And then after that, the final motion here is a type of cable press. So you're not getting much tension, if any, going up and down, but the goal after exhausting your front delt with the front raises is to actually prevent that cable from pulling you into the stack and having some stability work there. Now to the trap and upper back superset or tricep that I have shown already in a post, beginning with the hex bar rows to allow my elbows to drive fully back, loading for a rep range of about 6 to 8, beginning and holding for each rep at the top for about a second. Transitioning to seated dumbbell shrugs, using a very specific tempo on this one, as this is the second exercise. Each rep at the top of the shrug, holding for about 3 or 4 seconds to maximize that contraction of the upper traps, aiming for about 8 to 10 reps with the hold, and then after that it's fair game. Once you can't hold anymore, all you'll do is still control the eccentric on the way down, get a full stretch, but then come up to the top and don't worry about holding and just burn out that way by performing a few more reps. And then the final exercise is a band pull apart. You'll see I double up the band to start. You don't need that heavy of a band, especially being the third exercise. This is the first exercise in the superset. I would definitely opt for a thicker band, but this is definitely enough, aiming for that 10 to 12 plus rep range. Allowing my shoulder blades to fully retract, aiming to touch the wall and create outward intent with my hands. You'll see once I fail with 2 sides of the band, I simply just move on to 1 and burn out from there. Did that 3 times, about 2 minutes rest in between. And then just showing a standard standing calf raise set. What I do with calves especially, and you could actually translate this principle to most other, if not all other muscle groups, but this works very well with calves. So a lot of people struggle in the shortened position to feel a fully contracted calf. So programming a 4-0-1-2 tempos, holding for 2 seconds at the top of each rep to begin the set, is great for developing a mind-muscle connection in the calves. Training that range till failure with that specific tempo for about 8 to 10 reps. And then after that, since we know that we could produce more force in the lengthened range, so we can handle more load there, you'll see me fail in the shortened range, fully contracted at the top. Then I'll actually go up in weight. So about 2 plates on the cable stack, and then you'll see me here working at the bottom half or the lengthened position of the calf for as many reps as I can. 3 sets there, 8 to 10, and then whatever you get in the lengthened range after that for calves.